Hello, and welcome to our program, Astronomy for Everyone. The topic of this month's show is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. With me here in the studio to discuss this topic are my two guests, Paulette Achtung from the Michigan Science Center and Greg Dombrow from University Preparatory Academy Science and Math Middle School. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having
Thanks, Don.
me.
You're very welcome. Now, we'll have each of you talk about yourselves a little bit. First, Paulette, tell our audience.
So I am the planetarium coordinator and staff astronomer at the Michigan Science Center. I went to school at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. I got my bachelor's in physics, my minor in mathematics. I did 4 years of undergraduate research in astrophysics while I was there, so that was a lot of fun. And I got interested in science when I was a kid. Looking up at the nighttime sky, my dad taking me outside and sort of showing me what I could see, and was pretty excited about it ever since.
Great. Greg, what about you?
Student of Wayne State University, graduated with a bachelor's in education, elementary specialty with a science major and math minor, and then master's program at Grand Valley State University right now. For myself, I fought tooth and nail against being a teacher. My mom was a teacher and couldn't stand it, thought I was crazy. But after an experience of working with some students, loved it. Turned out that I couldn't get enough of it. And as far as my science background, I always wanted to know how things worked. And it was just a natural progression into science. So for me, I've been teaching 16 years now and love it.
Great. Well, thank you for filling our audience in on some of the backgrounds and what you do. Now, again, our topic is STEM, and it can be looked at from two different vantage points, both the formal, which is traditional K-12 education, and the informal, which would be museums, science centers, things like that. So, Greg, how does STEM impact what you do in the formal K-12 educational field?
To be perfectly honest, there is a huge push for STEM right now, trying to get students scientifically literate. One of the things that they want to do is they want to make certain that students are better prepared for the jobs that they will seek out once they're done with education. Making certain that they have a strong background in problem solving, understanding the world around them, and being able to communicate those skills.
And so STEM helps in that regard to bring that along.
Absolutely.
Now, I understand from a conversation we had prior to recording this show that UPrep adds another element to STEM.
They do. Actually, we have introduced something called S.T.E.M. So they add art to it. So it's science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. The reason that they have decided to add art to the program is the plain fact that a lot of the things that we purchase have an aesthetic appeal. And so you really have to look at that artistic aspect of it to make certain that what you're producing is something that can be marketable for a general audience.
Okay, so they look to the creative side of art to enhance the other elements of STEM.
Absolutely, yes.
And in the informal side, Paulette, at the Michigan Science Center.
Well, we have people come into the planetarium, and sort of my goal in the planetarium is to get people inspired. And just the whole Michigan Science Center, our goal is to inspire curious minds of all ages, doesn't matter if they're kids, doesn't matter if they're grown-ups, and to just give them that spark, sort of flashbulb memories, and then give teachers the resources that they need in the classrooms to tie in the field trips at the Michigan Science Center to some of their classroom teachings.
And is there any aspect of the art that would be used at the Science Center? Because working there myself, I know that we're a hands-on museum with a lot of good physical science stuff. So at the Science Center, how does that come into play?
So we actually just had an event called Colorosity, the annual science soiree, where we added the arts element into science. We did a lot of experiments that were very colorful, very bright, really pretty, but they were also scientific and a lot of fun to do. I also did a planetarium show for that was specifically, colors that we see in space. And we did stellar color and false color, why we use it, and also redshift a little bit as well in that. So we tried to bring in the artistic aspect. We actually have a artist in residence, Timothy O'Reekry, right now, and he is creating beautiful paintings that are right now decorating our office area, but we'd like to put them out on the floor for everyone to be able to see.
I've seen some of those paintings, and they are quite unique and very exciting visually with the very bright colors. So, with the STEM approach, how long has it been involved at UPrep?
For my school specifically, the school has been around for 8 years, and it's been there since the inception. The push from the founders was really to get students involved in a science, engineering, mathematics background. They want the students to not just memorize facts or be able to regurgitate things that they learn from the classroom, but they want them actively participating in those experiments and activities that they do every single day.
Okay, so Paulette, it sounds like critical thinking is involved, and they try to do that at the Michigan Science Center as well.
We do. We try and get kids thinking about what they're actually doing. So we are very hands-on, but to have kids understanding what they're doing when they're doing that hands-on activity. Like right outside the planetarium is the engine, where you can push down the different pistons and understand how an engine actually works. And kids really like to play with it to make the fan go faster, but we also try and tell them, okay, so this is what is actually happening inside of your combustion engine.
Exactly. Now, one of the nice things about UPrep and the Science Center is UPrep is right next door. And so, Greg, you and the other science teachers are able to bring your students over to the Science Center to get them some of the hands-on stuff to use that critical thinking?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, our relationship is wonderful because it gives me as a teacher and my fellow coworkers an opportunity to have interaction for the students that not all students have access to, because we're fortunate in our shared space.
Especially since it is located in Detroit, which has a number of underserved students. It would give them really the opportunity that not a lot of other students would have.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, Paulette, I notice as we walk through the Science Center, we see the junior docent program. We have some little kiosks with some videos, and those are students from UPrep.
Yes, they are. They are UPrep students, and they came over, I believe it was weekly. They came over and were on the floor learning about our exhibits, and they actually did little recordings that we're now using as signage on the floor, which is pretty awesome. They can come in, they can see their faces and see their little videos that they made.
Yeah, I've watched some of those as I've walked through the Science Center, and it really is good to see the involvement of the students with the Science Center to get that hands-on practical experience. Well, we've just barely touched this topic of STEM, but we're going to take a quick break right now. If you have any questions, please send us an email. You can see the email address located down there at the bottom of your screen. And right after we have Term of the Month with Stephen Whitty, we'll be back to talk more about science, technology, engineering, and math.
Thanks, Don. The term of the month for December 2015 is Cherenkov radiation. I think of Cherenkov radiation as coming from cosmic rays, but we also see it in nuclear settings with radioactivity. Now, the way it works is that normally things do not move faster than light, but what we're talking about there is faster than light moves in a vacuum. Light only moves 75% of that speed in water, so if you push an electron through water at nearly the speed of light, it actually is moving faster than light is in that water. When this happens, when an electron moves through water, it interacts with water producing some light, but that light moves slower than the electron can move, so it produces this characteristic shock wave pattern, just like in a sonic boom. It has a characteristic blue color. Any radioactive substance can produce Cherenkov radiation in water. And that is term of the month for December 2015.
Thanks, Stephen. Welcome back to the show. The topic for this month's program is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Of course, with me are my two guests, Paulette Achtung from the Michigan Science Center and Greg Dombrow from University Prep Academy Science and Math Middle School. All right, let's continue. Now, we have these programs, the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, in place. How can we use them specifically to engage students to enter careers in science, Greg?
Well, for the program that I work with, fortunately, it's one that leads right through to high school, and it offers honors credits for students. So if they start at the middle school, work their way through high school, continue with the program, by the time they finish high school, they have the chance of having 2 college credits, plus the ability to test out of 2 to 3 more college courses. It puts them in a great position to have a head start on many of the students that they're entering college with.
And of course, that's the UPrep High School
Yes,
that you're referring
yes.
to that carries them all the way through with UPrep.
Yes, yes, absolutely. The program is called Project Lead the Way. And with it, it started in Rochester, New York, and it's a program that is hands-on. It's not about right or wrong answers for students. It's much more about the discovery of learning, making certain that they're involved in the program, working with science, math, showing how it's integrated and how it ties into real-world applications outside of school. Really giving them a feel for what they can look forward to in the future if they look towards an engineering career.
And to really go to any of those facets within that area that would interest them.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And Paulette, how about that at the Science Center?
So at the Science Center, we really try and focus on inspiring kids to want to learn more about what they saw. So specifically, like in the planetarium, we're trying to do interactive shows with the kids to get them excited and to let them know you know a lot more than you think you do. And hopefully they'll take what they saw, what they learned in the planetarium, and turn that into a career in STEM. And I've seen it happen before. I'm one of those people that started out going to a planetarium when I was in middle school, actually, and thought, hey, that's really cool. I want to do that with the rest of my life. And so I did.
That inspiration.
That inspiration.
I know with our outreach programs with the Ford Club, we do astronomy, but certainly if we can get children excited in STEM, in science, any of that, if it starts with astronomy, that's great. If it leads them somewhere else, so much the better. Like I say, we're getting them involved with that, which has been sort of a weakness with our educational system, I think, in the past. We seem to be lagging behind other countries with the number of scientists and mathematicians that we were preparing here in this country.
Well, and we try to inspire them to pursue careers in STEM. It doesn't matter if it's, especially in the planetarium, it doesn't matter if it's astronomy. I mean, I'd love it to be astronomy, but it's all right if it isn't.
Certainly. Now, coming up next year, I know there's a program that'll be implemented at the Science Center. It's called the STEManista project. And if you could kind of give our audience a basic overview of what that will be.
So the STEManista project is sort of still in planning phases, but we're hoping that it's going to serve underprivileged middle school girls and help them to pursue careers in STEM someday. It works with mentorship, and it works with giving them opportunities that they may not have, maybe at businesses or engineering places to actually be able to do something that they never would have been able to do before.
Something that they could do, say, if they didn't get an internship somewhere, though maybe this might help them get one.
Right. It'll hopefully help them get an internship once they do reach high school, college age. And we're targeting girls because there aren't a lot of girls in the STEM field. I am definitely a minority among my field, and my graduating class of physicists at the university, I was the only girl. So I'd like to see that number increase to at least 2.
And up from there, right?
And up from there, yeah.
So, Greg, with this type of a program and your students there at UPrep, I would imagine this would be something that would work quite well.
Actually, yeah. I feel like we have a number of students that would love to be a part of the program. I know in my classroom, it's boy heavy, and I'm pushing for more of a balance. I'm trying to draw more students in, and fortunately, I'm making those connections with some of the students that aren't currently in the program and talking them into coming into the classroom. Don't be afraid. There's a lot of hands-on stuff. It's a lot of fun. We play. You know, it's not about the right or wrong answers. It really is, you know, what's going on. So they get to program, they get to design robots, they get to work on CAD systems. So they're actually designing child's toys. It gives them a chance to truly be creative and design what they want while using real world tools.
Okay, so stuff that they can take out into the workforce and
Absolutely.
Be successful with that. I know in years past, when I was the outreach manager at the Old Detroit Science Center, there was a program here in Metro Detroit through the American Association of University Women called Explorathon, where in fact they had the middle school girls, a program for them, brought in other females in science, technology, medical, you name it. They brought them in, they gave a series of talks, demonstrations, lectures. They could see mentors, they could see people that looked like them, and it didn't have to be boys, because the data does show by the time they get into upper elementary and certainly into middle school, the ratio of the male and you start to see the female just start to dive right off. Do either of you have any idea of why that is? Is any clues to that?
I would say, looking at the students that I have, typically girls don't see themselves as having a strength in science. So I really have to push them and say, look, you can do this. It's okay. And oftentimes, I think it's just the nature between boys and girls. Boys are taught, go head first. It's okay. You can dive in, take a chance. Whereas girls are taught to be, to hold back a little bit. Just check it out first, look at it, see if it's something that you're interested in. And if we can get them to push past and dive in themselves, I find that the girls do just as well as the boys when they're involved in the program. They oftentimes are fantastic when it comes to programming. Girls have typically better language skills. So when you try to convert that into programming the robots, the boys will sit there and struggle. They'll build, and they're like, okay, boys are, give me the pieces, I'll put it together. And girls are like, give me the computer, I'll tell it what to do. And they work well together when I can get them involved in the program.
Paul, it sounds like that's your life, actually.
It is a little bit. I do love building, but I sit down and I program at a computer a lot. That's a big part of my job is to sit and do programming. I think it's important for girls to feel like they can go in head first. And maybe it's just the way that I grew up. I might be different than the rest of the girls, but I don't even think that's it. I think it's just I'm willing to dive in head first and sort of figure it out. I also think it's important for girls to have mentors. I grew up being interested in science because my dad sort of fed my interest, and it doesn't have to be female mentors. It can be a male mentor. But then when I got to high school, I had a female physics teacher. That helped a lot. When I went to college, 2 of my research mentors were females. My first planetarium job outside of college, I had a female mentor. So I've been really lucky to have that opportunity, and I think a lot of girls need that kind of opportunity to continue to pursue those careers in STEM fields.
It seems that there's a little bit of a societal thing of, oh, science, well, that's for boys. You know, maybe going back generations. I mean, I don't know, or even students in general sometimes, oh, science isn't cool. Far from it. I mean, you get to play, you get to make things. Sometimes we even get to blow things up. I mean, it's great.
It's fantastic. But I know that it's a societal thing where, you know, science is for the boys, but I'm one of those girls who will stand up and say, I don't care if it's for the boys. I think it's fun, and I want to do it.
And I enjoy in the classroom having the boys take a step back, making the girls really take the lead. Or even if I can get a group of girls in the class and just make them a group by themselves, give them the opportunity to really outshine the boys. And oftentimes, if there's someone there pushing, I mean, there are students that are very self-motivated and they will get themselves going. But it's nice when you can get to those students that are timid, that will hold back, that are afraid to really be involved. Push them into not being afraid to voice their opinion, say what they have to say, be involved in the building process, the programming, and see them succeed. They feel so much better about themselves once they come out of it. Whether it was a perfect success or not isn't important. What is important is that they got involved and they saw progress in themselves.
Did it help when maybe you did separate the girls from the boys? They didn't feel they had to compete directly side by side? It kind of opened them up?
It depends on the student. Some girls do. Some girls, once they don't feel like, when there isn't someone in the group that's willing to step up and say, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, like boys often do, the girls will then take charge. Okay, well, I'm going to do this part, you're going to do this part, we're going to do whatever needs to be done. And it's not to say that, you know, this is standard operating procedure for all students at all times. But in a typical classroom setting, it's nice to be able to give girls that chance to really push themselves. And oftentimes I try to make it a competition because I want them to see that they can perform as well as, if not better than the boys who are always this gung-ho, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this.
Okay, it gives the girls the chance.
It gives the girls a chance, and, you know, sometimes it's fun to make it a competition because I know I'm a fairly competitive person, and I like to I used to compete against the boys, and I used to have a lot of fun with it.
Going one up on the boys.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, I want to thank my guests for being here to enlighten us on the aspects of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. I want to thank them both for taking time out of their busy schedules to be here. And if you would like to get more information, you can visit our club website. The address for that is down there at the bottom of your screen. And this episode, in a couple of days, will be up on YouTube, as are all the others, going back to episode number 1. So you can find the entire list on our club website, or just go to youtube.com and put in Astronomy for Everyone and check us out that way. Coming up next is Stephen Whitty with What's Up in the Night Sky, so give a watch.
Thanks, Don. What's up in the night sky for December 2015? December has the winter solstice, and it's usually on the 21st, and this is no exception. And here in Michigan, in Eastern Standard Time, it happens at nearly midnight. But 2016 is a leap year, and so we move the whole calendar a day, and by December 2016, the solstice will be reset back to the early morning hours. That's what leap year is for. The moons start with the third quarter moon on the 3rd of December. And we have a new moon on the 11th, and the first quarter is on the 18th, and the full moon is on Christmas on the 25th. It's near perigee, that is, the moon is near the closest to the Earth, but it is not exactly on the 25th, so I'm hoping that people won't call it a supermoon. So Mercury is in the evening sky just after sunset. So here we have it on the 31st at 6 p.m. Mercury has its maximum eastern elongation. That's its highest in the sky on the 28th of December. So it's definitely best at the end of the month. It's farthest from the sun, therefore it's highest in the sky. It's always very close to the horizon. Then we have the morning planets. On December 21st here at 7 a.m., again, these are Michigan times, Saturn, which rises between 7:33 at the beginning of the month and 5:52 at the end of the month, is better at the end of the month because in November, at the end of November, on the 29th, we had superior conjunction. That's when Saturn was behind the sun from us. We couldn't see it at all. So Venus is next up, so it's higher, so it rose earlier. It rose at maybe at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. Actually, Venus moves quicker, and it actually beats us a little bit, and it's moving away from Jupiter. It's moving lower. Mars rises at 2:45 to 2:45 as the month progresses. So Mars is the next one. It's by Jupiter. And then finally Jupiter rises at 1, and by the end of the month it actually rises late at night, that is after 11 p.m. the previous night. So then we have Uranus and Neptune. They set like from 3 in the morning to by the end of the month. Neptune sets at right around 10 p.m. You'll need a good sky chart, better than what we have on the screen, so that's what's up in the night sky for December 2015. So keep looking up in the night sky. It's the greatest free show over your head every single night.